SOP is a form of control. So for fire, you have fire extinguisher, you have smoke detectors, right? And then you have your fire extinguishers, you have somebody, floor marshal, fire marshals. All these are controls. And then you also have these assembly areas, you have staircase 1, staircase 2. All these are controls to reduce the impact of fire. Okay, so please remember, every time you implement a control, it is also cost. 3. Okay. In every organization, the management will have to allocate a certain percentage of their annual revenue as risk appetite. Usually it's about 10%, meaning in the event there is a disaster, in the event there is a disruption, the company is ready to lose up to this much. It's a must. Huh? Can you run a business without losing anything? No. I mean, of course, it's always good to be very positive about it, but that is why in all the corporate organization, even though they don't have BCM, they always have enterprise risk management team. They have risk management committee. Have you guys noticed that? All right. So this team will basically understand the entire risk to the organization, and then they will suggest to the management that during a disaster, we should be able to tolerate up to this much in terms of financial value, this much in terms of operational value. We should be able to operate with this number of people. They're supposed to do that. So only when you understand how much your organization is ready to lose, the rest of it can be aligned towards this. If your management are ready to lose up to 1 million only, but your disaster recovery says that you can lose up to 10 million during a disaster or a disruption up to 24 hours. Does it make sense? But it needs this. They need a bigger bandwidth because they are doing few thousand transactions in 1 hour. And other people are using the email servers, the same bandwidth. Everybody is sharing. So there's a lot of factors. Okay. Next one, classification of threats. You have natural, man-made, business, technology from different angle. But when you are doing DRP, you will usually talk about man-made. Most of the time, IT disaster is man-made. Huh? Correct? If you do not look after your employees, all they need to do is plug out wire from here and plug in there and you're done. If the backups are not done correctly, you're also done. If the backups are not checked, if it is backed up properly, you are also done. Suddenly there's no, what we call that, there's a new promotion by one of these departments and you guys don't have enough bandwidth, system shut down automatically. System becomes system panic. You guys know system panic, right? Yes. So when system panic, it just shut down for a while and then reboot. You see, for a user, all they want to know is whatever work they are doing is saved somewhere. Okay? They don't want to know IT people's problem. I don't care where you save it, you just save it. When I double click, my website should open. So it is basically our duty to educate all these people that there are so many things, at the back end. Now, these are some of the, what we call that, sample. There are more to this. But these are some things that you guys have seen, like power failure, very common. So you have genset after genset after genset. But the challenge is nobody tests the genset. It's there, right? They will do preventive maintenance every month. To a question, if you guys do load testing, oh no, we do not, because we don't want to interrupt the business. Do you guys hear that? Okay, genset supposed to work for you when the power is down. So if you do not do a genset testing, full loaded testing, you will never know if it's going to work during disaster. This is a very common mistake that companies do. Okay, your fire in data center, UPS, generator rooms, okay, telecommunication link severe cut. Somebody will be doing some construction work. They just dig up your cable and you're done as well, right? And most of the IT companies, you have redundancy. You have a different telco or providing. But very unfortunately, both the telcos are running their cable using the same manholes under the road. Anybody check that? Nobody knows. Okay. So in some areas, you will get power from two different grids. Okay. Flood, very common flash floods. Earthquake, sabotage, hardware failure, software bugs. These are very common things. Huh? Okay. Now, typical risk analysis approach, things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, you have to gather information, internal, external. All right. Evaluate threat scenarios. We talked about this earlier. Remember, who can enter your data center, who cannot enter. You have dual door system, you have multiple cameras, but you will still see all your non-IT friends sitting in data center and yakking with you. Okay. So this is all very common. People don't take it very seriously, but these are the biggest challenge. Control. Okay. You have to talk to people a lot to understand how these threats can be managed. What would be the root cause of all these threats? All right. And then, of course, you can also ask the experts. Okay. You have a lot of vendors that you will be dealing with. They will have a list of threats that they can share with you. Okay. And what can be done, what cannot be done. So most of the time, your IT partners will suggest new technologies for every single challenges that you have, right? Especially for firewall. How many levels of security do you have? 3 layers, 4 layers, right? I've seen company with 8 layers of security, 8 physical boxes, huh? And then they basically have HA. They also have DR with HA. Can you imagine? It's 2N plus 2. Okay, 2 gensets. So all this can happen. So for an organization, spending millions of dollars for something that may or may not happen, not all the bosses want to do that, huh? Right? If disaster doesn't happen for the next 50 years, the only time you're going to use all this facility is when you do your testing. Otherwise, if you are a boss, will you actually spend 50 million making sure all these have redundancies? I don't think so. So whatever approach that you choose has to be super cost effective. All right. These are some of the internal and external factors. All right. Gather historical information, okay, on your system maintenance, network security logs, physical security logs, okay, environmental control, your information system audit, fire incidents within the same company, within the same area, within 10-kilometer radius. Because in a city center, you do not have power grids everywhere. That means one power grid goes down, probably 5 to 6 kilometer radius is gone. Okay, so you need to understand that. Sometimes in your building, you have one genset which is provided by the building management. Will it fire up your essentials, your lights? Maybe. But can it support your data center in the 17th floor? I don't know. Right? So somebody have to look into all those things. So external, you have fire incidents, flood, power outages, earthquake, telecommunication disruption, IT network failure, security reports. So these are things that you will understand before you come up with your risk. All right, we don't have to do that. These are basically you do when you have your time, where you write down the threats that you feel you are exposed to within your organization. Okay, what are the methods? See, you need to understand, you can also come up with this, but different people in your organization may have a different view on this risk evaluation challenges. You may say, no, flood is number one. Somebody will say, no, 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 fire is number one. Somebody will say, no, sandstorm is number one. So there must be a method being used to gather all this information, and then somebody have to moderate this. This is when you will prioritize. No. For our business, for our organization, we see fire could be the major threat in the organization, in the company, because it's going to give us the biggest impact. Why? We are in IT business. Everything that we have is IT based. Okay? And we are serving clients, for example. So we fail, 30 or 40 clients are going to fail at the same time. You understand? All right? You can have interviews, one-to-one meetings with the respective business unit head. You can do a workshop session. It's also data gathering makes made easy. You can get a lot of people into the same place, get their views. So it is not a simple thing where you just send them an email and expect them to respond. It is basically getting your clients, meaning even the departments are your clients, okay, to come into one place and then share their experience and give their views. Or it could be just a combination of all this. All right. Now, we talked about the likelihood and impact rating, impact and rating. Likelihood, right? Chances of something happening. Okay. We are not very sure, but the chances are there. That is likelihood. Estimated impact. You need to understand how big the impact could be if fire were to take place in your organization. It's a must. This is a way of calculating the risk. Okay, it has to be quantitative or qualitative. Okay, so we have these two. Specific, you have to specify. So you can usually work with this ERM team to come up with these numbers. They already have a standard. Or you have to come up with a range. Otherwise, usually what happens is when you talk about quantitative, different departments will start coming up with their own numbers, which will not be uniformed across the board. So it has to be something that everybody agrees. So when they do this impact rating in their forms, the scoring methodology will be the same, and it will be easier for you guys to consolidate this input. Okay. Qualitative is basically high, medium, and low. This is a bit scary. Why? What is high for you may not be high for me. What you see as medium may not be medium for me. That's why every time you qualify, you also have to quantify it. Okay, so green, for example, 1, yellow is 2, orange is 3, red is 4, amber is 5. Simplify. So the impact could be either one of it. Now you see? So it can be color coded or it can just be numbers. So in your organization, everybody will understand green meaning very, very low impact. So everybody will follow the same scale. Okay? Now, this is easy. Risk rating is 25. Where is 25 in the scale? This is the highest number. Okay, it's here. Now, why do we even do this to your management? Why do you think we actually come up? That means when we get the feedback from the user, we consolidate, we put it into this chart, and we are presenting it to the management. What is the purpose? Why do you think this is? Okay, exactly. Now, by providing this chart to the management, number one, we get to prioritize our list of risk. Remember, I mentioned earlier, you may have identified 10 risk, okay, that management or that you want management to look into. But do you really think management is ready to invest money to solve all the problem? Maybe no. Now, usually when we do this, what we do is now is just numbers. But in reality, you know these numbers already by heart. What we will do is we will park the risk that you have identified into these boxes. Remember the risk rating and impact you calculate, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? When you calculate, the highest risk is 25. So meaning it's 5 times 5, right? Let's say you park fire in this box. You park flood in this box. Which one do you think the management should pay attention to? So fire. This chart will also help the management to gradually bring the threat of fire from this box. Maybe our target is by next April, we want that fire to be in this box. Within the next 2 years, we want to bring the threat of fire to this box. Do you understand? It's a process to show the management, okay, we will take from now to 3 years so that all our risk that we have identified will be within this area to keep everything under control. But when you park everything here, that doesn't mean that it won't escalate. Huh? So that's why you see the risk impact over time. This is likelihood. What this chart show the management and you guys is something can take place. But over time, if you fail to attend or to look into this risk, it will escalate and escalate and escalate and escalate and escalate. Do you guys agree? There's a small fire. If you know what to do, you will quickly run, you will take the fire extinguisher, you will put out the fire, right? If you do not know what to do, if you're very scared, you also didn't call anybody. Instead of informing somebody, you choose to keep quiet because you think it's not your business. Small fire will eventually become huge. And by the time the fire alarm goes on, it's already in orange or red or even here, depending on business, what business you are in. Okay. So in a bigger level, this is how we basically want to show the management that, hey, look, We have all these risks, we are populated into the respective boxes. We need this much of money.